Hello, and welcome to part 2 of my Monster Hunter DOS Hunting Horn Only Diary. Last time, I discovered that I was almost ready to make the first hunting horn. Only thing I was missing was a single giant bone. And so we're going to go and hunt our first Bulldrum in this file in hopes of getting that giant bone. And on the way, we do a little bit of mining in hopes of getting some ore for some future plans that we have after we get ourselves set with the hunting horn. Here you can see me getting attacked by a swarm of Velociprey. They get quite vicious. But eventually, after doing a little more mining, we go out and continue the hunt. We find our Bulldrum. Now, Bulldrum himself, he isn't a relatively dangerous monster. A large amount of the risk comes from overcommitting in front of him. He does a lot of fast charges, and when he gets enraged, he charges and attacks a lot more frequently. But nonetheless, he's pretty simple. We spend the majority of the hunt getting bullied by the smaller monsters in Bulldrum. So much, in fact, that I actually have to back off and kind of reset myself, sharpen my weapon, and take a moment to heal, and get right back into getting bullied by the Bulldrum. But eventually we do come out successful, we capture the Bulldrum, and we get the giant bones that we needed. We immediately head over to the Forge Granny in order to make our hunting horn, and with this we are finally able to say that the challenge has begun. And now that we finally have our first hunting horn made, we're going to equip this right away. You can see a nice bit of green sharpness, very huge for this part of the game. We also take a look at what upgrades we're able to make. We just need a couple more giant bones and some monster fluid. Not very difficult to get. We make sure that our item box is in proper order. This is very important. Perfect. Oop, and I almost forgot. We don't need this garbage anymore. This is a hunting horn only file. And we set out to hunt another Bulldrum. This will also be a nice opportunity to test this bad boy out. We do a bit more mining while getting harassed by the local Vespoid. And luckily we get a Machilite ore, something that's very important. This is going to be an ore that we're going to need a lot of. We get ourselves all set to wait for the Bulldrum in this zone here. And while we're waiting, we take a moment to get our buffs in. And here you could see a bit of what I was talking about in the first video with how Hunting Horn's recital mode works. You have to sit in a certain position for a brief moment to play a note. And you can do different attacks to change which position you're in to play different notes. You can even see me accidentally dodging and attacking the Vespoid while I'm doing this. Now this quest also comes with a subquest to slay 8 Vespoids, something that we most definitely want to take advantage of since we're going to need monster fluid. And there's our target. Now this fight becomes so much more comfortable with the increased movement of self-improvement, the increased range from the hunting horn swings and being able to hit Bulldrum from the side. The fight itself goes relatively smoothly. As you can see here, we get our attacks in. We simply just walk around a lot of his charges, setting ourselves up for more attacks. It's quite comfortable. And we see we got ourselves a Vespoid there that we can carve. We're going to need a lot of its materials as well, aside from the monster fluid later on. A risk that is worth taking this hit for. And we get ourselves a KO here. Bulldrum even helps us out with clearing out our subquest. We get another KO and treat the Bulldrum to some smooth jazz. Get ourselves another KO. And the hunt ends relatively painlessly. We'll get our carves in. Get ourselves a Bullfango head. There is a piece of armor that we can make from the Bullfango head that'll give us a higher chance of getting some crown-sized monsters, and we even get a giant bone for our trouble. A fine hunt. Unfortunately, we don't get any giant bones or monster fluid, so after returning to do a bit more item box organization, we go out on another bull drum hunt, which also goes relatively smoothly. I get flattened while trying to take out a pesky crab, but the hunt itself ends relatively cleanly. We get the giant bones we need, and we see that we have only one quest left that is available to us in this season, a Velocidrome. We take a moment to talk to the village chief. Gives a little bit of his plans for the village in the future. It also gives us an interesting bit of information, a tip on how certain monsters will be available during different seasons. A bit of information we will most definitely be using to our advantage later on. And so we go to hunt our first Velocidrome. Now Velocidrome, he's the first large monster you'll come across in the first Monster Hunter game, and here he's not too different. Just about every attack you hit him with is going to make him flinch, and his health pool isn't very large. A very simple monster to start off with. As a matter of fact, the bigger danger of this hunt is going to be these smaller monsters around us, both for me and for the Velocidrome. As you can see, I'm getting knocked out of the sky by the local Vespoid. All in all, this hunt is going to be a bully. Every couple attacks are going to launch him. And as you can see here, by me getting a KO, I'm going to be properly bullied by the Vespoid again. The hunt ends just as quickly as it had began. Now, there are some materials we're going to need from the Velocidrome to make some armor. So we'll get our 2 carves here, and we'll spend the rest of our 60 seconds waiting on the timer, doing a bit of mining. And we finally get harassed by the local Vespoid yet again. We go and take a quick look to make sure there are no quests that we haven't cleared out yet for this season. We also take a look at something that I haven't looked at or explained yet, and that is the bounty board. Some monsters will have a higher bounty on them as time goes on, giving you a little extra cash when you hunt them. We also take a moment to talk to the Master Shipwright here, who will then challenge us to a bit of arm wrestling. And I just barely eke out a victory. Now, the Master Shipwright says something interesting here about how he's not really trying, and it makes me wonder if he actually isn't. Because as you'll see here, after I get a Might Seed for my troubles, I decide to take him on again and again and just get flattened. I spend way too much time here trying to beat him. Eventually we do. And I then remember that I have other things to do. So we go and we take a look around. And we see that the Combo Master here has something for us to do. a simple delivery quest, and we're only missing a few sunset herbs. Simple enough for us to get. And with that, we have our next goal in sight.